Welcome to the Power Platform Show. Thanks for joining me today. I hope today's guest inspires and educates you on the possibilities of the Microsoft Power Platform. Now, let's get on with the show. In this episode, we'll be focusing on the FastTrack program and large-scale Power Platform implementations. My guest is from Greater Toronto area in Canada. He works at Third Floor Solutions as a principal consultant. He's deeply committed to helping people understand the transformative potential of the Microsoft Power Platform, as am I. He believes that the Power Platform is a game changer that can redefine how businesses solve complex problems and increase productivity. You can find links to his bio, social media, etc. in the show notes for this episode. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Hey, Mark. Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to hear your story about your experience, particularly in the FastTrack program and the projects that you've worked on. But before we go there, tell me a bit about food, family, and fun. What do you do when you're not working?
Food, family, and fun. All three things that I love to do and love to share. I guess food. First of all, if anyone knows me, I'm from South Africa. So braaiing, or as we call braaiing, and everyone else calls it barbecuing, is near and dear to my heart. It's something I do at least 4 times a week, and I have many friends come over for various meats that I have to barbecue. I would say definitely barbecuing, braaiing, and putting some nice steaks on the barbecue, smoking them, and doing all kinds of creative things. Family, funny enough, I just had my third child. We finally got our little girl, so I've got 3 kids. Love spending time with them. Trying to get my oldest into the Power Platform, actually, so we can touch on that.
Nice.
And for fun, I enjoy soccer or football. So if I'm not playing it, I'm watching it. And just having a lot of social time with friends and family.
It's cool. What's that big sausage that you have that is in a circle that's round?
Boerewors?
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny enough, I make my own as well here in Canada. I mean, there are some South African stores that you can go to, but I've got a few recipes and so on. So get the friends together, get a couple drinks going, and make some good boerewors and throw it on the barbecue. And I've never had anyone tell me they don't like it. So
yeah. I feel that you guys nailed jerky, or what is it, biltong?
Biltong, yeah. I make some of that too. And
wow.
anytime that's the best snack to have, no matter time of day. You can always chow on a piece.
Do you use chili on it as well?
So they have the
Spices?
chili bites, as they call it. Because I give it to my kids, I guess I haven't put on any, but I mean, I personally do love chili bites. It's definitely anything hot, actually, I do enjoy.
Nice. It's I'm very partial to dried meat. I find it's a great snack. You're getting a protein hit off it. It's generally, quality. So I'm there with you. Tell me about, how did you discover the Power Platform? Like, where was your first, do you have a memory of how that came about?
I remember the night, actually. It was a Thursday night. So I used to work at a large engineering firm and work my way through the traditional IT, if you will. And I kind of took a pivot. I needed a change. I was there for around 8 years, pretty much from a co-op student through various levels. And I joined a small construction firm here in Toronto. And me going in there thinking, I'm going to help them bring a couple of their on-premise servers to Azure and kind of do that traditional system admin and infrastructure work that I had been doing. I was like headfirst into SCCM and all the system center modules, if you will. And long story short, one of the directors over there who led the service division came to me and said, "Hey, I've got this Excel spreadsheet that we use for estimating. I need to automate this. How do I get it out to people out in the field? Basically, we want to be able to spit out an estimate anywhere." And I'm like, okay, the SharePoint list came to mind. I dabbled in SharePoint and stuff before. So I jumped into that, but I'm like, this is not doing what he wants. So my very good friend, Dave, actually my best friend, who's my business partner today, I give him a shout, and I'm like, Dave, I need your Excel magic. I need a VBA script here that does a whole bunch of estimating in this spreadsheet, and I need to upload it to SharePoint. And Dave's like, this is a really good use case for Power Apps. And I'm thinking, scratching my head, like, okay, what's Power Apps? I know Power BI. What's Power Apps? So he brings up Power Apps and he shows me. And I said, okay, I'm going to take it away. So on the Thursday night, I'm tinkering there with Power Apps. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend so much time trying to learn this to do this estimating tool. So I closed Power Apps, and I would say I kept launching it, and then I watched a couple YouTube videos. I'm sure everyone knows Shane Young, so pulled up a Shane Young video. The idea behind this estimating tool was really a shopping cart. People needed to add labor and material and equipment and build a estimate. So I went down the path of creating a shopping cart in Power Apps, and I was struggling so hard, like it just didn't. I couldn't grasp it, and I always wanted to be a programmer, and I could never grasp some concepts. Again, it just turned into one day I got it. I'm like, okay, a collection, okay, a variable, and so on, and then. I have pictures of it. Actually, we had just had my first son. I have pictures of him at like 2:00 in the morning. He's sleeping on my one leg. I got my laptop on my other leg, and I got addicted to the Power Platform. At the time, it wasn't even really called Power Platforms. Just you had Flow, which was now Power Automate, and
Yes.
Power Apps, and I was just building. So I end up building this estimating tool that a whole department end up using. At the time, premium licensing wasn't really a thing because you could use SQL for free or in the seeded license. So I start building on a SQL database. I start calling SSRS to spit out PDF reports and then convert it to a Word document for them to actually create the proposal. And I built this full-blown application with version control. They could do what-if scenarios with the estimate, very quickly change things. And there was close to 65, 70 people using this application. And sorry for the rabbit hole there, but that's how I started on the Power Platform. And I would say in the first year at the company, we went from no Power App to close to 70 apps within the space of like 8-9 months.
Wow. That is epic. Awesome story. Tell me about Third Floor Solutions. How did that come about?
Yeah, great question. So my friend, I was just referring to David Godridge is his name. Him and I met each other. I just graduated, started working, and so did Dave. And Dave was on the third floor, so that's how Third Floor came about. So Dave sat on the third floor, and I was in the third floor in the IT room. And I'll be honest, Dave used to frustrate me by coming and knocking on the door and always had some new software to install or system admin privileges he needed. And I was just the IT guy he always bugged. So, yeah, Dave and I just started working with each other, and side projects and just stuff came about. And our first project, I won't forget, was a small trucking company here in Toronto. Basically, they got soil from construction sites, and they had this card system where the people would buy 100 loads of sand that they could drop off at this site. So Dave and I built an Excel app that people had a mag strip kind of card, would swipe it, and like a whole point of sale system within Excel using VBA. Again, this is back in 2014, 2015. So pre-Power Apps. Like now I keep wanting to go and rebuild that for them in Power Apps. But yeah, so the funniest part of this whole story is we end up selling this little Excel spreadsheet for like $5,000. And at the time, we like high-fiving, we entrepreneurs, we're going to make it. We split the $5,000. I actually used my half to buy my wife's engagement ring that she wears today. And
Nice.
that's how Third Floor came about. Dave and I, during COVID, really got a huge ramp up in people just asking to digitize and all this. And by word of mouth, Dave and I just got so busy that we left our full-time roles to pursue consulting. And I remember our first name, we were actually going to call ourselves Alien. And Alien is Latin word for, I think, being different, because Dave and I always said that we just want to provide value. We don't want to go and blow out a statement of work just to make some money. We want to bring value and be this like boutique service kind of thing. And we registered a company, and I was taking a shower, and I'm like, what should we call ourselves? And I'm like, wait, we met on the third floor. Third Floor Solutions, and it's stuck, and that's what it is today.
I love it. So obviously you've grown, and the topic of the show is going to be the FastTrack program. How did you come across FastTrack? How important has it been for you to, work with tooling like Success by Design and the Microsoft internal FastTrack team, and then getting recognized as FastTrack recognized solution architect? How much has that been pivotal in what you've done?
I would say it definitely helps credential yourself in front of a client or in front of people. A lot of folks know about the Power Platform. Um, I'll be honest, what frustrates me about hearing someone speak about the Power Platform is when they just brand it as a low code, no code, or citizen development. I like to put it into three buckets. You're either the low code, no code citizen developer that is basically just like you would open a spreadsheet and build something to solve your problem or an access database.
Yes.
Power Platform is now another tool, and that's a citizen developer. Then you got a fusion developer where, hey, I know how to build things. I just need a connection to something. So I raise my hand and tell IT, hey, I just need a read-only connection in there, or hey, can you help me build this API? And then you got your mission critical, which is like game-changing stuff you can be building on the Power Platform. So everyone is talking about the Power Platform now. So if you come to a call and you can say, hey, I got my FastTrack, people instantly know. Some people don't know what it is yet and they're still learning, but they instantly know, okay, this is someone that's got their PL 600 at least. So you've got that education behind you. Or that experience to get your PL 600. I remember the first time I got my FastTrack, you also had to show proof of 3 projects where you architected at least for, I think it was around 1,000 more users or in large scale enterprise. So it already also shows that, okay, you're not just a one hit wonder that's done one solution that you've architected and so on. And then you also had to show some proof of work that you've done or architectures and so on like that. And then you also get interviewed. And I was fortunate enough to get actually interviewed by Reza Durrani, someone that I've looked up to on social media and so on. So you actually vetted by the product team and the platform team as well. So it's not like, a lot of the other designations there where you're not vetted, but it doesn't mean you don't have that skill set or anything like that. So yeah, so to answer your question, it really helps credential yourself on a call, helps people listen a little better that, hey, someone's seen it at other organizations on how things are being done. So it definitely helps. And especially if Microsoft are on the call with you, bringing you to a client, it gives them some respect that they're bringing someone to a call that's, again, not just here to try and solve your problem, but it's someone who knows how to solve your problem.
I like it. I like it. So one of the reasons this call came about was around large-scale projects. And, I've got a pet peeve against the concept of citizen developer as well. And I suppose the reason for it is that the Power Platform, if you look at the history of it, came out of a concept in Microsoft called XRM, which is anything relationship management, which was their CRM product. And, I, for many years, implemented that product never as a customer relationship management system. I would build totally different type of applications that are still in production today. And because I used the model-driven capabilities, really what we call that, we didn't use terms like that then. But, for example, the entire border force operation of Australia runs on that for all air and sea cargo crossing the border. So we're talking about, tens of millions of products traversing the border a year, going through an application that was built many years ago on that XRM type concept. And so and I requested for years from Microsoft, and as well as many other MVPs and stuff, for what we called a headless version of CRM. Don't give us, customers and accounts. And we're going to build something different. We don't need that. We need the idea of an activity type and an entity, but we'll label the entities. We don't want your logic. Let us build. Power Platform, we're like, wow, this is amazing, right? All the stuff we've been doing in the enterprise using XRM and, the dynamic SKU to do that. Now we can do it without the dynamic SKU. We can do it with the Power Platform SKU. Amazing. And then I started headbutting enterprise architects and organizations that were going, well, if citizens can build on it, there's no way that has ALM or is enterprise or listen. we will keep it like Excel and SharePoint. We'll let people do what they want, but there's no way it's going to be on par or integrated to SAP or Oracle or ServiceNow or any of these, because they're the heavy, they're the central applications for an organization. And so I had this, the marketing of the Power Platform, I felt devalued, because now we had a platform much more powerful than I had back in those days with the XRM story, but it was being perceived as a platform for children. In other words, for the people wanting to do a little doodle, I remember going to a financial institution and they're building a Power App with Excel as the database behind it. And I'm just like, scratch my face off, right? This citizen developer, look what they can do. Yeah, no understanding of enterprise architecture or architecture, data models, anything of that. And I just felt like we've been done a disservice, because even I remember working on one large project. In this case, over 40,000 premium Power Platform licenses have been sold, and it's coming up for renewal. And the organization's going, why do we need this? Like, we're never going to use it for enterprise. Why are we paying this money for this amount of seats? And we've only got 1,000 under consumption, because nobody's really adopted it, because IT wouldn't allow anybody to adopt it for enterprise workloads. And so that's why I did this whole series in the podcast on, hang on, let's talk to some people that have done some big stuff. What are those big projects for you that you've seen over your career? What industries have they been in? How have you really seen that, like I said, the product I was talking about in Border Force there, it's still in use today, 10 years on. They couldn't rip it out because it's so critical to the org.
Yeah, I've got some really good stories about some Power Platforms solutions that we've built over the years. There's actually so many to talk about in almost every sector I can think of. I mean, there's mining, there's healthcare. There's actually an app that one of the first apps actually I built was actually to track at a dentist you go for anesthesiology or anesthesia, I should say.
Yes.
So they were literally tracking the anesthesia on a Canvas app. So the heart rate and medication being given and all that wasn't out in terms of a big implementation, but using a gallery to actually track the heart rate with some SVG image in it and all that, which was really cool. It was again really edge case. But I would say the biggest solution that actually was part of my application becoming a FastTrack initially was for a large bank here in Canada. And hopefully someone from Microsoft can fact check this. I've been told it still remains the largest implementation of a Power Platform solution in Canada. There's around 65,000 users globally that use it. It's on the Dataverse. And really what it is, there were around 350 info path forms to start off with, and this was ever growing, where they needed these forms to have some sort of solution. Info path is going out of support and so on, which funny enough has been extended, I think, till next year now. But anyway,
is that right?
There were these 350 forms. We actually had a bake-off between ServiceNow and a Canvas app, or a Dataverse backend with Canvas app and a model-driven app. And really what the requirement was, we need a form builder that has really complex logic, meaning drop downs affect how the form is at the bottom and so on. And there's 350 different forms. So what we did was we architected a very nice schema on Dataverse. Really, the app was run off 4 tables that basically had attributes, and then one had business rules and so on. And all those 350 forms were then presented in a single Canvas app. So you select your form, it goes to the database and collects all your attributes, and then those attributes have business rules so that, if I select USA, the next field will pop up would be state, and it would only show you your states. And if you select this state, then it will show you your branch locations and so on. That one was huge because once the application or the form is filled out, it then goes to a whole fulfillment process where there's auditing, there's approval process. If your manager's on vacation, it jumps to the next person and so on. So there were so many complex rules around each one. Auditing was very important because this is access to really sensitive data at times. So it was all for request fulfillment and access at the end of the day. But I would say that's probably the biggest and most complex solution that I've built. And then the framework, it was just so reusable. Anytime I have a form today or people have forms to build, this framework is so reusable. I almost don't build tables wide anymore. I build them long with just attributes that I can give now to an end. Because the biggest thing on the Power Platform is ideas come so fast and furious. You need to think, how do I build, but give the user control to maintain and administrate it versus, hey, I got a new field I need to add to this form, and now I have to jump in, pop open the table again, and so on. So a lot of what I've been building is how can I build this, but move on to the next thing that someone's going to need me to build without having to maintain and support this, with such white glove service all the time. So and I mean, there's been other solutions around warranty management for some big car manufacturers. There's been a mining. Dave and I actually built a really cool mining app that people took underground to do drill logging for the mines here in Canada. Offline capability, so basically tracking every time they would switch a drill. It was basically raise boring. So they first bore a hole, drill the hole and then ream it from the top. So we would be able to track every time they changed the drill, what the ground was like. So once they were drilling, then when the ream was coming back up, they would know when they were going to meet tougher ground and so on. So very complex app because it had offline. Offline was a requirement because there's no service in a lot of the mines. And I'm talking 2019 timeframe, 2020 timeframe. So offline capability was still hit and miss on the Canvas app, but we got it working, and it's just some really cool use cases, and I love hearing these use cases that people have. Current ones that I'm working with is leveraging Copilot. So I have this kind of vision of changing the way people fill out forms to be more of an experience. So a lot of business case forms, for example, where people fill something out, but then it goes back and forth with whoever fulfilling or triaging that request. So now I'm tagging Copilot with some knowledge. And as the user is entering a field, Copilot is almost like an assistant saying, oh, you're missing two aspects into your answer, because now I can trigger a Copilot API call to like, hey, how is this answer, like a custom prompt? So some really cool things coming down the pipe with Copilot that I think can take use cases just to another level, where you kind of tagging that knowledge of an SME all the time.
I love it. I just want to focus in on offline that you mentioned. Where is it from a maturity level now, and your perception of the platform, and even in that use case in 2019, kind of what did you do? One of the projects that we did back in that XRM days is that, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but Dynamics CRM used to have, so this is before the 365 was added, Dynamics CRM used to have a COM object in Outlook that used SQLite on the device, which gave you offline capabilities. And then when network connectivity was restored, it would go through a bunch of business rules around, last edit, blah, blah, blah. There's a whole range of rules around how it would update. And our use case was main roads in WA, West Australia. It's like 11 times the size of the United Kingdom from a geographic perspective. Over 70% of it has no mobile coverage whatsoever. And these were road working trucks, with big toughened devices that were inside their truck. And the road workers, in many cases, this was the first computer they had ever seen in their life, right? And so all touchscreen, experience, ArcGIS integration. But one of the big things was when you're in the outback of nowhere and you're assessing a damage to a piece of infrastructure, whether it be a bridge, whether that be even power assets or surface of the ground, you needed to be able to have all this input. And then at the end of the day, when you went back to base and it got a Wi-Fi connection, it would upload all those defects and automatically create work requests, service orders, that type of thing, and assign them to contractors to go fix. So that's how we did it in those days. And of course, I've seen the journey for a long time, people wanting in the Power Platform that type of full offline capability. Where is it now from your perspective?
Rolling out Microsoft 365 Copilot licenses isn't enough. You need an adoption plan to get people using it well. In our new book, published by Microsoft, we offer a practical guide to successful Copilot adoption. Many leaders believe in the why of Copilot and AI, but they need guidance on how, from practical frameworks to enabling champions and measuring impact. Get your copy of Microsoft 365 Copilot Adoption now from Amazon or find a link in the show notes.
Yeah, and I think that there's two ways to look at it. So when we were building this mining app that I was referring to, I looked at a model-driven app, kind of a route where you had the Dynamics app you could download on the phone and so on. And there was actually a sync button, which was amazing. Like you offline, you create your offline profile and so on. You capture the data, and then when you go online, you can kind of like hit that sync button, and you see all the records writing like you described. But we were building a Canvas app, and this just purely on the layout and all the data they were capturing. If I could, I would have built a model-driven app at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Custom pages wasn't a thing. Embedded
Yes.
Power Canvas apps was still kind of coming out, and we didn't want to like kind of venture out into new territory just yet. So we just went full-blown Canvas app. And painful story. We initially started with a SharePoint backend because the IT organization there again was against Power Platform, which, long story short, we eventually got into Dataverse, which was amazing. But we were using the offline capability within a Canvas app, which was really kind of rudimentary because you kind of like, you jump in when you have a connection, you download all the collections you want, you kind of save it locally, and then they can go off and be offline. And that's how it was we built and left it. I understand now, I haven't built an offline capable app at least for maybe a year or two, but I do believe there is more offline features that were recently added about, I want to say 8 months ago now, that I haven't personally tinkered around with them, but I'm hoping there's more of that sync feel where it's more like the previous one. We were literally just saving a collection locally to the device and then loading it back up. So you kind of didn't know where it went, kind of thing. It was just there in the background. But I do know Microsoft have been making so many strides in all the different features on the Power Platform. Sometimes I feel like some features are left behind, and then out of nowhere they come swooping in to update it. But there's been definitely a lot of push on even responsiveness. Canvas apps used to be really frustrating to kind of make responsive, where these containers now help a great deal. I mean, there's still quite a bit of work on the Canvas app side. But yeah, I personally kind of veer towards model-driven apps first before Canvas apps. Like, I need to hear a really good use case of why you need a Canvas app, because so many things out of the box are just there with a model-driven app. Like, just the grid feature, for example, comes to mind. Like, I hate seeing a gallery with labels at the top trying to make like a table. It's really frustrating. Like, I know the Creator Toolkit now has a new grid feature, or even the Model Control, there's a new grid feature, but I still feel like if we could have the grid feature from a model-driven app in a Canvas app, that would be game changer.
Yeah. I think even with PCF, what you can do now inside grid and options is pretty amazing. While I was laughing about the grid, you wouldn't believe as an MVP, the heated discussions inside of Microsoft. I'm talking about pre-2016 around just getting an editable grid back then was just, it was, very hard, but totally different organization now.
I find that the editable grid today still needs a lot of work. Like it's there and it's
100%.
great. It's good for some use cases, but when you need to have some business logic behind it, you have to revert to JavaScript so much to kind of do what you really want it to do, but you run into a few limitations. And I'm very excited for the day where you don't have to revert too much to JavaScript and so on. And I mean, even plugins have been made a lot easier to use, where a lot of folks don't actually realize the power behind a plugin on Dataverse or something, and they're trying to kind of code this logic through either JavaScript or they go to a Canvas app because they can create a formula that's going to do what they want to do. But they forget that if data is imported through some sort of other mechanism, your business logic does not run.
Yeah. I think that Dataverse is probably one of the most undervalued or understood from IT folks and developers of its capability. And like, if I look at where we're going in the next 5 years, it's almost like I feel that's the piece that will survive, and all the interfaces and stuff. Like, in 5 years' time, do we need the concept of a menu in software? I don't know that we will, right? Because I think that, one, we're going to have interfaces that are going to form on the fly, based on the data types that you're requesting. So it'll be, in other words, the interfaces, I think, will be a lot more data-driven in how you'll interface with them with AI. And I've got this concept of, like, even the form factor. You know, if you had a projection screen or a television screen, a computer monitor, your iPad or whatever, I think the potential with interfaces and stuff would be like, I need such and such displayed on my phone or displayed on my computer monitor, and it would know the form factor that it was dealing with. It would know, or hey, give me the answer. I just wanted it as auditory. I heard an example the other day. If I needed to specify a color, I shouldn't need to know the hex code or whatever. I can just, like, it knows that I'm talking about color now. So therefore, the best way to visualize color, maybe a color picker or something, whatever it would be, or I just want to sample it off my screen, and it would know that, because I think that interfaces are going to get really interesting over the next 5 years. But I think the big building blocks behind the screen, like Power Automate and Dataverse and stuff, are going to be so much more critical. But I don't think we're going to have so many consultants interfacing directly with that going forward.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. And that's why when I was saying earlier, like, I have this kind of like vision of changing the experience of a form, because at the end of the day, a form is there because you're trying to get information from someone or update information, right? And I constantly see people say, hey, I've got a use case for Power Platform. And they bring me this like 400 field PDF form. And all they want to do is move the fields from the PDF form to the Power App. And I'm like, what's the problem is getting this data, right? And now you're just transferring your problem from a PDF to a Power App. How about we rethink it? And that's where I kind of want to get, is like, the data you're requesting, does a user even need all 400 fields? Like, no. If they answer these top 10 questions, these 5 at the bottom go away. Great. So those are the things where I always related to when I did my taxes before, and like it would ask you, like, did you do your RSP contribution, for example, retirement contribution? And if I said yes, it's going to prompt me for uploading a receipt or something. But if I said no, it doesn't prompt me. So kind of same thing, ask some qualifying questions, and kind of, as people are going through the wizard, if you will, because at the end of the day, you are answering one field at a time anyway. So how can you change that experience? And Copilot obviously comes to mind a lot, and still frustrates me a bit to think a lot of people just think Copilot is a chatbot. It's more than that. That's like that data retrieval spot. There's like tasks that it can perform, autonomous, or you triggering it, and that's where you have to kind of crawl before you walk and run. But we're getting stuck at data retrieval. It's more than that. Like you say, it can, if you're prompting it something, it can start visualizing things for you to get information from you that you ultimately are going to either use or have it do something.
Yeah. Michael, it's been so good talking to you well over time. You're just so interesting to chat to, and you got such brilliant insights. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Mark, thank you so much for having me, and I'd love to be here again one day. But yeah, go catch the other folks out there who are passionate about the Power Platform, and look forward to hearing from them.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Business Application MVP Mark Smith, otherwise known as the NZ365 Guy. If there's a guest you'd like to see on the show, please message me on LinkedIn. If you want to be a supporter of the show, please check out buymeacoffee.com/NZ365 Guy. Stay safe out there and shoot for the stars.